It started with an email, not a dramatic one. No all-caps screaming or passive-aggressive bolding, just a soft pastel Google form link titled "We'd love to celebrate with you." But when I opened it, I felt my stomach turn. There it was, the line that split everything open. To confirm your RSVP, please answer the following 2 questions, minimum 250 words each. My breath caught. 2 essays, 500 words, required, to attend my sister's wedding. That was the moment I realized this wasn't a wedding anymore. It was a contest. And suddenly, I wasn't her sister. I was an applicant. My name is Anna. I'm 27. I don't live with my family anymore, but I'm close enough. Close enough that, until that email, I never questioned whether I'd be at her wedding. Of course I would. She's my only sister. I may not be perfect, but we've got a lifetime of shared holidays, matching pajamas, stupid fights, and quiet car rides. And now, she wanted me to prove I deserved a seat? Let me take you back. My sister had always dreamed of a big wedding, a fairy tale destination celebration on the beach, surrounded by 300 friends and family, golden light in the sky, and a string quartet playing Coldplay. It was supposed to happen before the pandemic. Then everything changed. The venue cut their capacity in half, and instead of cutting the guest list herself, like a normal person might do, she came up with this, a re-invitation process, a digital survey that was anything but. 2 questions, no names required, because she said everyone has an equal chance. No preference given to blood, history, or emotional closeness. Just enthusiasm. Question 1. Why do you still want to celebrate this day with us? Question 2. What will attending our wedding mean to you specifically? And here's the kicker. You couldn't even submit the form unless you reached the minimum word count. It wasn't optional. No space for brevity. No room for honesty, unless that honesty was dressed up in flattery. And what happens if you don't fill it out? You're cut. Automatically. Disqualified. Like you missed the deadline for college admissions. I sat there staring at that screen, blinking. I could already hear my mother's voice, trying to sound gentle. It's just a little thing. It only took me 20 minutes, sweetie. I could picture my father, rolling his eyes, but doing it anyway. The man who has never written an email longer than 1 sentence, now reduced to groveling at the altar of bridal ego. And me? I closed the tab. Because here's the truth. I am not writing an essay to earn my place in my own sister's wedding. Not while I'm already planning to spend thousands on airfare, hotel, clothes, gifts. And that's before I factor in the quarantine I'll likely face when I return. Not while I'm still exhausted from the weight of the last year, like everyone else. And especially not when the questions aren't even about safety or risk. They're about praise. This wasn't about COVID. This wasn't about logistics. It was about control. It was about feeding the image she'd built in her mind. That her wedding was so special, so transcendent, that people would compete for the privilege to attend. And I refused to compete. So I told her, calmly, no yelling, no drama. I told her I loved her, but I wouldn't be submitting 500 words to beg for a seat. That I hoped the wedding went beautifully. That I meant no offense, but this just wasn't something I could participate in. She didn't take it well. She told me the rules were the rules, that it wouldn't be fair to make exceptions, that even our parents had filled it out. I said that was fine. I wasn't asking for an exception. She said, then you won't have a spot. And I said, okay. But that wasn't the end of it. Because a few days later, my phone started buzzing. My mom, then my dad, then my aunt, somehow already looped in. If you don't go, it's going to be a big deal. She'll never forgive you. Everyone's going to be asking where you are. You'll make the family look bad. They weren't even subtle about it. My parents actually said the words, "You're going to be in big fucking trouble with all our relatives if you don't just write the essays." Let that sink in. I'm 27, a grown woman, living independently, paying my own rent, and they're threatening me with family-wide shame because I won't submit to a literary Hunger Games. I asked them something I think they didn't expect. I said, if you all think it's so important that I be there, why doesn't she? Silence. Because here's the truth they didn't want to admit. If being her only sister doesn't automatically qualify me for an invite, then maybe I'm not wanted as much as they pretend I am. Maybe the truth is, I'm not chosen. Not because I didn't write a beautiful essay, but because I didn't play the game. And if she needs me to grovel, to write flowery prose about her glow, and her gown and her glory, just to be allowed to stand quietly in the back of a rented hall and clap when she kisses her husband, then maybe this isn't a celebration of love. Maybe it's a coronation. I thought about writing something anyway. Something passive-aggressive. Something honest. Attending your wedding would mean I spent 2 weeks panicking about a virus and 2 hours watching you call yourself a queen. Or, Mom said I have to go or I'll be disowned. But no, because even if I did send something, I already know how it would go. She'd read it, judge it, maybe laugh, maybe cry, and then maybe still not invite me, because that's the risk, isn't it? You write your little 250-word ode to Her Holiness, and you still might not make the cut. Imagine writing an entire essay, only to get rejected. Thank you for your interest in attending our wedding. Unfortunately, we've had to make difficult decisions, and we will not be able to accommodate your attendance. We hope you still send a gift. I couldn't stomach it. So I made my choice. I stayed silent, and now I wait. I wait for the day she posts her wedding photos on Instagram, glittering in some faraway place, tagged with 5 brands and 30 hashtags. I wait for the relatives to call and whisper, "Where were you?" I wait for the guilt to settle like dust in my throat. But even as I wait, I feel something else rising in me. Something heavier than guilt, something firmer than doubt. It's pride, not the arrogant kind, the survival kind, the kind that says, I know who I am, even when you pretend not to. I am her sister. That used to mean something. Maybe one day it will again. But right now, it's just not enough for her. So, am I the asshole? You know, when we talk about weddings, we always call them the happiest day of your life, unrennes. But for a lot of families, they're not. They're pressure cookers. Moments where years of unresolved tension, hierarchy, favoritism, and unspoken resentment rise to the surface, dressed up in matching linens and flower arrangements. This story isn't really about an essay. It's about what it means to be chosen. To be wanted, not for what you say, or how well you play along, but simply because you are family. Because you were there before the partner, before the ring, before the Pinterest board. When someone asks you to justify your presence, not just financially, but emotionally, you have every right to say, no, I know my worth. And if they don't see it, maybe you were never truly on the guest list to begin with. So what about you? Have you ever been asked to prove your place in someone's life? Would you have written the essays? Or would you, like Anna, have drawn the line? Let us know in the comments. And if this story hit close to home, share it. Because somewhere out there, someone else is being told they need to earn love that should have been unconditional. And maybe they need to hear this first.